What's good, everybody? You asked the questions, I'm going to try my best to provide the answers. Today, our topic is confidence. Let's talk about it. So, once again, I put up one of those little question thingies on Instagram. You guys sent me some questions that you have about confidence, so let's jump right into it. The first question is, how to not be in my big ass head when I go talk to girls. This is something I still struggle with. I'm always real with you. I always like to keep it a buck, be 100% honest. I still have trouble many a time with talking to ladies. There are many different factors as to why, but over the years it's become easier and easier. And so I do believe I can provide some good insight on it. First things first, you have to start getting rid of your insecurities. Now that's a tough process in itself, but the first thing I would recommend, grab a notebook, write a list of your insecurities, write the reason why you feel that way, whatever qualities you deem negative, define them clearly, and then write a comprehensive list on how to solve and get rid of those insecurities. That's step number one. Now, it's not going to be an overnight process. These things take time. It takes a lot of time. In fact, it's taken me years to get over a lot of my insecurities. And I really have, I can sit here confidently and say 100% that I've gotten rid of the majority of my insecurities. But I still have plenty to go. Out of 100, I've probably gotten rid of, or, I've dealt with at least 80, let's say. So there's still work to be done. But the more you deal with them, the more you accept them, and you accept the things that you can't control, and you start to control the things that you can, it gets a whole lot easier to be confident in yourself. And that's step number 2 is start affirming yourself. Tell yourself every single day that you're the man. It sounds ridiculous, but seriously, knowing you specifically, you have a lot of really good qualities, my man. And there's no reason for you to ever be down on yourself. There are, of course, always going to be reasons to be down on ourselves. But in terms of your looks, you got a really good personality. I think you're a funny guy. I remember training with you for a minute. You're a funny guy. You're a cool guy. You do a lot of cool shit. You just have to be confident in yourself. You have to tell yourself every single day that you're that guy. Because it's like Joe Rogan says, we are the main characters in our story. You have to do everything in your power to write the best book, write the best script to your movie, and execute. It's tough. But once you do those things, then comes step 3. Just try talking to girls. I wouldn't recommend just going up cold to a girl who's sitting at a table alone. That might be a little bit intimidating, especially nowadays. We've gotten to a point where girls are really on high alert, for creepy dudes. And that's just, our culture changing. Maybe it's for the better, maybe it's not. That's up for you to decide. But I would recommend, going out one night to the bar, looking around, seeing who looks at you, and when you make that eye contact, and you know what I'm talking about, there's always going to be that one moment where you make eye contact, you either walk over, or you pussy out and you don't. I would recommend that you get yourself out of your comfort zone, and you get the fuck over there and you start talking. I'll give you an example. I was online at a bar, and we were all waiting to get in. There were these 3 girls in front of us, and I guess it was kind of like, like a random approach. But I asked him, I was like, yo, how long you been online? Like, blah, 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 cracking a few jokes. And it just starts from there, Eventually one of the girls bought me a drink, And that's just how it goes. You let the conversation flow, and you just be comfortable, Just go in there with no expectations, especially. That's a big one. That's, in fact, that's step number 4. Relieve yourself of expectations. Because the moment you do, there's no weight on your shoulders and no pressure. So get out of that big head of yours. All right, the second one is confidence versus facades. Well, there's a major difference between being fake and putting on a facade of confidence. Now, sometimes it's very hard to distinguish between the two. Fake people are everywhere. They consume our lives. They're left, they're right, they're up, they're down. You want to avoid those people for sure. But sometimes people need to put on a facade, to get through that first initial stage of getting through their insecurities and whatever. I had to do it myself, from the time I was probably 16 to maybe 18, 19. It's a tough process. It definitely sucks. You know, you want it to be the real thing always, but the facade sometimes helps us get out of our comfort zones. You know, am I saying you should live a fake version of yourself or a facade of yourself? No, but sometimes you need to put on that face and you need to put on that facade to get through a situation, you know, whether it be talking to girls, whether it be going in for a job interview, whether it be being in the gym and, you know, you're in a fucking war with a sparring partner and you got to get through it. You know, sometimes you have to fucking grind your ass out and get your shit done. As much as you don't want to, you have to put on that facade sometimes that you're going to get through it. You have to keep telling yourself, you know, fake it till you make it. I think that facades lead to genuine confidence, or at least they can. You know, it depends on if you're doing supplemental work to build up the confidence. You know, one thing is working out. That's a huge one. Number two is doing things that you're not comfortable doing on a regular basis. You know, that's huge. You have to constantly do things that you do not want to do as if you love them. And I still struggle with that myself, but I'm working on it. That's the thing, you know. I'm only speaking from experience, but I'm no expert. I still have trouble every single day getting out of my comfort zone with confidence at times. And that's been a big thing with this fight, you know. I came into my camp extremely confident in myself, working like a motherfucker, training 4 to 5 hours a day. But over time, I burnt myself out. And mentally, I was just getting destroyed, and I was having shitty sparring sessions, and I was having shitty training, and didn't feel right, so my mental was starting to fade. But once I took a step back, and I started to do the supplemental work, rather than putting on a facade alone, then it all became real. I have come a long way from facades to the real shit. And it takes time, it takes steps, but once again, sometimes you need to put on that facade to reach the end goal of genuine confidence. Next question. Oh, this is a pleasant surprise. When do you release more songs, man? It's not really a question about confidence, but I don't know. I gotta be honest. You know, I made some amazing songs. I love them all. Honestly, I still listen to them on a pretty frequent basis. I love listening to my songs because they really came out great. But at the end of the day, I've got a lot more going on right now. You know, after my fight, I'm going to have to work on my money situation. I'm going to have to work on growing the podcast, growing the channel. I'm going to have to work on making new ideas for facing my fears. So music has kind of taken a back seat because it's not the thing that I'm really that passionate about anymore. You know, I love it, and I will continue to release songs in the future. But for right now, it just ain't the time. So check back next year. Next question is probably one of the most important questions. How big a factor is confidence in unfamiliar situations? The biggest. Just a pinch of confidence can bring you a mile, whether it be, let's say, you're in a foreign country, you don't know where the bathroom is, you know, and you gotta ask somebody. Well, it takes a lot of confidence to go up to someone who you don't even know speaks your language or not, and to try and communicate with them that you need this, you know, necessity, and that you need to get there. So there's that. Just getting through an adventure takes a lot of confidence, you know, because you have to be willing to get out of your comfort zone and do things that you wouldn't normally do, go places you wouldn't normally go. So it's massive, you know, and to build up that confidence, it takes time. You know, you just have to be willing and able every single day that you're in an unfamiliar situation, every single time that you're in an unfamiliar situation, you have to just face it head on, like it's a normal day and like it's a normal challenge and like it's something you do every day. You just have to trust yourself, you know, and that's very difficult, but you have to do it. So that would be my advice. Just trust yourself, because in reality, you can do anything you put your mind to within reason. You can figure out that subway system. You can find that taxi cab. You can take that base jump. You can step in that cage and slug them fists, you know. Every single time you find yourself in an unfamiliar situation, tell yourself, you can get through this, and do it confidently. Do it as if you know exactly what to do, even when you don't. Sometimes you just have to wing it. You know, that's how I approach life in general, honestly, you know. I didn't know what I was doing when I started a podcast and a YouTube channel. You know, I didn't know how to operate a camera. I didn't know anything about ISO, aperture. I didn't know anything about FPS. There's so many factors into every single situation that we just don't know. And sometimes you just have to go in head on, straight on, and just face it. So Just be confident in yourself in every situation. This next one is quite the interesting question. How do I get a big pipi like you? Look, we can't all be born with the most amazing genetics the way that I was. And we can't all be born with the giant magnum dong that I got going on. So, I'm very sorry, but there are things you can do. You can run to the gas station, grab some pills, you can get the pump, if you catch my drift. But yeah, sorry, you're kind of on your own on that one. This one is actually very, very important. How do you handle confidence after bad sparring sessions? Especially a few in a row. Let's watch something real quick. That's me getting my ass handed to me last Thursday night. Now, at that point, I was 3 weeks out from my fight. I'm 2 weeks out now, and I got my ass whooped. That's just a part of life. I've had plenty of nights consecutively where I've had bad sparring sessions, but those were sparring sessions. It's in the gym. That's the place where you want to lose, if anything. You don't want to lose in the cage. You don't want to lose on the street. You want to lose where you know that you're going with really good guys. When you come to our gym, especially, you're training with amazing talent. Now, let me put up on the screen also the person who I was going with. Look how fucking big this person is. That person also has a year plus more experience than I do, and he kicked my ass. That's life. That's MMA. That's martial arts. That's kickboxing. It is what it is. You're not going to win every single spar, so what do you do to maintain confidence? Well, put in the work. The only thing that builds confidence is work and putting in effort. Now, knowing you, the individual who sent in this question, you are not unknowing of hard work. Given your profession especially, you do a very dangerous job. You put your life on the line every single day, literally. Do you lose confidence every single time that when you're put in a stressful situation, something very bad happens? Or do you regroup when something bad happens and make the best of the situation? I know that the latter is definitely the option that you go with. So you need to treat sparring just like that. Sure, you might get pieced up. Sure, you might get hit. Sure, you might get hurt. But at the end of the day, the more you work, the more time you put in, the more effort you put in, the better you will get. And the less frequent those bad sparring sessions will happen. Listen, I've been going to the gym for 3 years now, and I still, all the time, get my ass whooped. That's life. If you're gonna let it affect your confidence, then that's on you. Abraham Lincoln had a good saying. He said, "You're only as happy as you choose to be." And it's true. The same thing applies with confidence. You're only as confident as you choose to be. You can choose to have self-pity. You can choose to be down on yourself. You can choose to defeat yourself mentally and not be prepared next time that you come to spar. But you can also choose to say, hey, it is what it is. Next time, I will do better. I will put in more work. I will do the techniques, and I will get the job done. And that's what you got to do. So, take it in stride, my man. It happens to the best of us. I ain't even the best of us. But even someone who's been going to the gym for a long time, who's been busting their ass, putting in the work, it still happens to me. It happens to even the best guys in the gym. Do not get down on yourself, brother. Stay up. Rough patches are rough patches. That ends it for the questions. So I figured now would be a good time to go on a tangent about my own journey with confidence. It's been tough. I've had a lot of factors in my life that have really taken a toll on my sense of security, on my sense of self-worth. And I had a lot of years of struggling with confidence, I had a lot of years of thinking I wasn't good enough, thinking I was a loser. And you know what? I was a loser. But the only reason I was because I told myself that I was a loser. That's not the way to live your life. There's so many steps I've taken, so much work that I've put in to become the man that I am now. And there's not a day that goes by where I'm not grateful for it. So for you guys, I would recommend a few things. Number one, grab a notebook, write down all those negative qualities you think you have, and then write a detailed analysis as to why you feel that way about that specific quality. Go quality by quality, go situation by situation, write them all out, get them on paper, clear your mind. That's step one. Step 2, read whatever you just wrote. Read it over. Do your best to come up with a solution, essentially. Once you have it down on paper, the solution becomes that much more clear. Now, I'm telling you this from experience because over this fight camp, I've had to deal with so much mental stress, overtraining, feeling like shit, having bad sparring sessions, and losing confidence and losing faith in myself. And I've had to build myself back. We are our own worst enemies. It's 100% a fact. And as tough as it is to build back and to keep trying over and over and over again, we have to do it in order to achieve our goals. I've had to do it for years. I've done it over and over again, countless amount of times, but I've come to a place now where I've finally gotten a hold on the formula, and I've finally come to terms with the fact that it's all in my control. Step 3, in fact, would be accepting the things that are in your control and are out of your control, because there are so many things that are out of your control. There are so many things that you have that you can control. Working out, diet, putting a smile on your face, standing up straight, standing up tall, laughing as much as you can, not taking yourself so seriously. Look, I come on here and I have a camera and I talk to it with a fucking microphone, you know? People would think I take myself a little bit too seriously, but I really don't. Sometimes I act like my shit don't stink. I'm just another guy. Stay real with yourself. That's the best advice that I can give. Stay real with yourself and understand that anything you put your mind to, you can do. And that just a pinch of confidence can move mountains and take you for miles. Thank you all for watching. I hope this helped you out. Peace.